Did GMCV give you the how the gyms out of the city? Let the folks know who you got today.
Man, I'm Dwight. Everybody call me White Shoes. You can come check us out at Vibes. I got a lot going. I'm with the hottest in the city right now.
Alright, you know what I'm saying? This ain't like no regular interview, you know what I'm saying? I most wanted to come and talk about, you know what I'm saying, the youth situation, you know what I'm saying? And your kickball. You do a lot of stuff. You got the kickball, you met with the youth sports, you got the spring fling thing going on. You gonna go and start it off with like the football situation, cause that's kind of, you know what I'm saying, it's about the kids. They tell the people like what's going on with youth football in Mobile.
See, right now we got youth football in Mobile, and it's kind of deteriorating because of the grown people that are over the kids. You know, as being the leaders, the new leaders of the kids now are the coaches. Right now, all the coaches are the new leaders. We don't have those spoken leaders that we used to have when we was growing up, when I was growing up. So now the leaders of the kids are the coaches. And by the coaches having conflict with the high beings of different boards, it's causing to tear the league apart. You know, so we're at a part where there may not be no youth football in Mobile. And if it is youth football, it's a lot of kids gonna miss out because they can't get to particular parks. Only certain parks gonna have football now. And if the kids can't get to those parks, they won't be able to participate. In the parks that are having them, they're having to load up with talent. Well, not with talent. It's just there's not that many parks.
Alright, so how many leagues are there right now? Like how many leagues?
Well, we had we had two leagues. One of the leagues were more dominant than the other one, but the more dominant league is breaking up. And so that's leaving us with one league. By it being only one league, that's not enough teams for all the kids in the surrounding areas to play.
Alright, so what's the pros and cons of both of them leagues?
See, one league was a very competitive league. The league that they have now, it was a league that was formed because certain teams couldn't win in the competitive league. Now that we don't have the competitive league, we are playing in a league that was where the teams got out of this league to start their own league, and we don't have a league for the competitive teams to play in. They're having to play in the league where the kids got out of this league because they couldn't play. So if they have this again, and those particular teams got out of the league because they couldn't compete, what are they going to do now? See, that's the question that we have.
But where that make them that league competitive now?
But like I just said, they got out of the league because it was too competitive.
Yeah.
They formed their league for their kids to play, and so their kids it could be competitive for their kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is this: if we go to that league and we're dominant, because certain parts that they let in are going to be dominant, what are they going to do? Because they left this league because the league was so much more dominant than their kids.
What would you think would be like a resolution for that?
The biggest resolution would be grown men coming together for the greater power of the kids. See, the problem.
I ain't trying to tell you mean for a black man or like both sides or what you mean?
Basically our culture, because our culture really controls the league. Our culture is the dominance. We're more dominant. So by us being more dominant, we're being coached by our peers. So it's a lot of blacks that are involved. And the problem then that is what always goes on, blacks that don't want to come together. If the blacks came together and talked it out, because most of the time it don't take nothing but a conversation. And that's one thing that we don't do. So if you don't conversate and talk about it, how can you have a solution?
Alright, so in your opinion, why you think the competitive league fell off?
Because the competitive league was a good league. It was a good league, but they couldn't compete nationally. So in order for them to compete nationally, some rules had to be changed. In order for those rules to be changed, the league and the people that started this league would have to go back and change some of the bylaws. And by them not changing the bylaws, it was aggravating the coaches that was going to play nationally because they couldn't compete. For instance, our deadline for ages is after September the 1st. So if you turn 8 after September the 1st, you can still play with the 7-year-olds. Where when you play national, if you turn 8 after July the 1st, you can still play with 7-year-olds. If you turn 8 in our league after July the 1st, you have to play with 8-year-olds. So we have been going playing nationally against older kids. That's handicapping us. So by that handicapping us, that's starting a rift within the league.
All right, so you say that, you know what I'm saying, but is that the competitive league, is they doing it for the kids or they doing it for
Themselves.
the coach is
See,
doing it for
that's why I
themselves?
said- This is why I said it comes a time where grown men have to understand why they're really doing it. Because if you're doing it for the kids, you don't mind coming down and coming together to solve what's going on for the kids. When you're not doing it for the kids, that's when it's a problem. Because it's I. So in the competitive league, if we want to get the league back going, it's gonna take some self-checking. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't about us. You know, you can't live through them kids. But a lot of people that coach, they ain't never did nothing. They ain't never won nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you ain't never played no sports and you winning at that and you getting this glory, it starts kind of being about you instead of the kids. And that's some of the problem.
Do you think competing for that, trying to compete internationally fold that league up? You know what I'm saying? Like people trying to compete to make it in now, because you wouldn't even have no argument in the bylaws.
If they
you
weren't competing nationally,
yeah, and
right.
that never been a thing.
it never had been a thing till now.
Yeah.
Now is if you win your championship. See, football is played year round everywhere except Mobile, except Alabama. Well, basically Mobile. When you go play in Georgia trains 20. They train 365 days out of the year. When you come to Mobile, you only can start in June. Once June starts, maybe mid-July, you can start training and practicing. So it was handicapping. A lot of teams were going out of town to play in different tournaments. So by them playing in different tournaments, like you say, if they wasn't trying to play nationally, it may not have started that. But being the competitor that most of these guys are, they want to take these kids on the road and show what Mobile has to offer.
Do you think, like as far as national, do you think they have some more so like with their future? So if I don't compete against the business and everything becoming NIL based for incentive for the kids and everything, it kind of hold me back too, right? Like if I'm one of the kids that go, you know what I'm saying? Like don't I need to go compete nationally everywhere so I can be prepared for my future when I get older?
And competing nationally, it is a good thing as far as going to play against better players. But what we have to always realize is that youth sports is just a form league.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a league to get you ready for the next level.
That's the perfect, I'm gonna tell you that's the perfect response because you're the first person I ever heard that said what's the point of youth sport.
Yeah.
So I'm saying everybody says you playing it, but everybody really got no point. Like,
Vision.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
See, it ain't really about winning and losing right now.
Mhm.
It's about learning the game and becoming a better basketball or football player.
Mhm.
It's a lot about work ethic.
Exactly.
See, most people don't understand that. They thinking that just because I play, I'm good. But this is no lie. Even as NBA players, NFL players, it's players that don't work that hard.
Mhm.
Once you get in that certain position in the league, you feel like you don't have to train anymore. That's why it's people you saying how he can't make free throws. Because he did just a 9-to-5 job to him. He hoop and go home. Just like don't nobody else want to be great at nothing that they don't do extra work with. You know what I'm saying? So the youth sports is designed to give you a drive, a work ethic to start your discipline. You know what I'm saying? It's only the form league. See, I coached for so many years, and I used to always, my organization that I started an organization, and I used to have so many kids. But I was one of the few people that knew you cannot coach me. But it was a bigger picture. So I would have multiple teams. I started teams where if you don't play, you can't get better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I saw the bigger picture back then. This was 15 years ago. So now my kids that got to play, whether they was on a bad team or not, they got to play, so they got better, rather than you playing on a loaded team and not getting in the game. You know what I'm saying? So when most of my kids turn 18, 17, they the best kids, best ball players in the city because they had opportunity to play.
You know what I'm saying? You know how they saying like it's for the youth. You know what I'm saying? It's for the youth. Like, why ain't nobody doing that? Like, what the age group? The age group really they be doing the violence for like 15 to 18. If it's really about the youth, why ain't nobody like starting a flag football for? You know what I'm saying?
Kids.
Yeah.
They have that.
Huh?
They have flag football in Mobile. They have all of this.
I'm talking about for like the older kids that's getting into, you know what I'm saying, like for the street stuff and.
See, this what goes on when you get older kids. Most of the time, if you catch older kids, they already form bad habits.
Yeah.
So if you don't catch them when they're young, it's hard to mold them because once they turn a certain age, they feel like they already know everything. See, when they turn 13 and 14, they've already 15, especially 15. They already created all these bad habits. It's hard to catch them kids because they already doing certain things and they only relate to people that are doing the things that they're doing. So it's hard for you to be saying, hey, come do film work. When he's 17, he's saying, this ain't making me no money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? See, it's only a select few of kids that you have to get them when they're in their youth.
Yeah.
This is where we're messing up at because if you don't grab them then and you start teaching them then, this is why we need youth sports. Because if you don't have something for them kids to do, their minds wander. And when their mind wander, they listening to the music. They're not getting educated in school. They're not getting educated. A lot of them not playing sports. So what's educating them is TV and music. You know what I'm saying?
So you think music influencing like the violence going up?
So this is what I'm gonna tell you. When I was coming up, it was about the music was player music, laid back. People was hippies, stuff like this. So this is what influenced everybody. There was a lot of people doing Mary Jane, doing this. So then the 90s come, people start doing crack, people start doing this. This is what they're rapping about. So you'll become influenced by what you hear. If you hear this constantly, and you don't have that male or father figure or strong parent in your life to tell you that this ain't real, this is what's going to educate you.
So you saying most coaches are doing that, or they're worried about football?
So this is what I'm saying. If they're worried about football, most coaches have great intention. They have great intention with the kids, but they also want to win. You know what I'm saying? You have to realize if I ain't never played nothing, and this is my only time to shine, and I start winning, I may lose focus because I never played in the sports before. I don't understand the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? When reality is about you giving these kids something to do, keeping them out of the trouble, and you teaching them something that they may be able to use to further them in life.
All right. So what's your take on like the NIL deal? You know what I'm saying? You think youth sports gonna help kids get like an NIL deal?
See, I really didn't like the NIL deal because money influenced people to do things that they really wouldn't do normal. See, I was a guy, I went to college, we didn't get NIL deals, and it didn't bother me. You know, I got a free education, I met new people, I had a lot of stuff. I didn't finish college, but getting that money now is making it where you may not make the best decision for yourself because you may have to make the decision that's better take care of your family. You know what I'm saying? Just think about it. You ain't never had nothing. And this school right here offer you, because they get $250,000, $300,000 NIL deals. You offer me a $300,000 NIL deal, but this ain't a good place for me to go. But I'm gonna take it because I need them finances.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the teams that has the most money, the program that's the biggest, gonna always win out. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Do you feel like though, because I say black people got limited resources, that there would be though another, I guess, outlet for kids, like you know what I'm saying, like privileges and stuff.
See, with the resources that we don't have many resources, so that do handicap our kids. It hinders them too, by them not having those resources and people to talk to know about the ins and outs of what they need to do financially, mentally, physically. So we end up doing things that we shouldn't do, all because we only know what we know. You know what I'm saying? If you're not educated on what you need to do, you're gonna do what you think you're supposed to do. But sometimes that may not be right, but you only know what you know. You know what I'm saying?
I asked that. I seen Angel Reese and Floja, the two girls from Ellis. I seen them talking about like, I got the ability to go in the store and buy my mom's stuff out there she might not ever have before, and to see black women getting the power from there too. What you think the direction of women's sports is?
I think women's sports are big, but the only thing that handicaps women's sports are their athletic ability. You know, that's the only difference. Most women shoot better than men. If you take 10 men out of the NBA and 10 WNBA women, and they shoot 33s apiece, the women will probably make more, because they're going to work harder on their game. But what's hurting women in sports is, just like in the real world, they're in a man's world. You know what I'm saying? So you can't get a big fan base for women. Now, college basketball is starting to do it, but in the WNBA, these women are making the max maybe $100,000.
Yeah, I see, because the college kid get paid more than the
WNBA. And see, that'll stop you from going to the WNBA.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Why would I go play college ball when I'm making more money? Why would I go play pro ball when I make more money in college?
They saying that too. And that's, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a conversation. And just like I say, that's detrimental to your future, like what you saying, because your happiness. So if I've been doing this my whole life, and even though I got the bag, if I just stop cold turkey and stop playing basketball for the rest of my life, so I'm sure you're gonna be depressed for the rest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you got to be like, that's why I tell everybody, even in youth sports or anything, you got to give them kids something to fall back on.
Right.
Like you can't, you can't just drill them out, because if they don't make it in this, whatever it is, football, basketball, baseball, whatever, they lost out here.
They lost, exactly.
Because you didn't give them something to fall back on. You know what I'm saying? Everybody not gonna be a football, NFL player, NBA player. I don't care. This is what you have to understand that we look at. Even if you win Mr. Alabama, it's 50 more players won Mr. something in their state. And the NBA only has 2 rounds, and only 1 round is guaranteed. So only the first rounders are guaranteed. Everybody else, you may go to the G League, you may have to go and do this. Ain't none of it guaranteed. So you have to be extremely special. Right now, they're having more 7-footers than anything. The league on the small guards are gonna be, they got 7'3" guys doing what 6'2" guys do. So you have to use youth sports and sports to further yourself in life. You know what I'm saying? Not for just sports. You have to take it for more than that, what I can do, what I can accomplish by using these sports. Don't just make this a one-dimensional thing. Feel me? I did that with my son. I used to drill him and drill him. He was 18, he had 15 small scholarships. He didn't want to play no more. Because I didn't take the time out to think like, man, you need to be a kid.
That's the main thing that I realize with kids. You gotta ask them first. A lot of parents, like, regardless if you right or not, you still gotta get their opinion. You see what I'm saying? And when you don't, kid mad.
It hampers them. That's why, like, to this day, I tell everybody, like every day you can't. They have to be a kid. I know you want them to be good, but at some point you got to say to yourself, are they enjoying it? You know what I'm saying? You can't enjoy it more than them. You can't want this more than them. So you have to let them be who they are. We grow up trying to mold our kids and we drill them. But the thing be, they not understanding that you've been in this position before. You've been young before. But in reality, you kind of picking their lifestyle. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it hurts a lot of parents when their kid turn 18 and they're like, Mom, Dad, I don't want to play no more.
Yes.
They're not a failure. They're not a failure. It's just that this is
Now your love turns.
Yeah.
Y'all like grow up.
That's
You
right.
get different passions.
That's right. You may find something else that you like. And as parents and coaches and all that, we got to be men and women enough to acknowledge that and accept that. If we can accept that, these kids gonna be better. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we have to do as parents and mentors.
All right. Do you think football should be practiced year round?
I don't. See, this is what I think about Mobile. Mobile has the most guys per capital that go pro. And this is why. Because they can play football, basketball, and baseball.
Yeah.
We're not just football players. In Georgia, they play football year round. All the guys come from Mobile. The big guys, they can play basketball, they can play baseball, they can play football. So you have to be a better athlete to make it, not just a great football player. The guys that made it from Mobile were great athletes. So I don't think you should just play one sport because you never know what those kids gonna be great at.
You got some more sport questions before we go to music, a little music.
What's your opinion on LeBaron Fallon? Like, where you think he's gonna end up?
I think LeBaron Fallon is possibly the best to ever come out of Mobile. You know, I don't want to put any expectations on him because when you do that, I've seen guys that has had those expectations, and when they didn't make it, they hide because they felt like they let everybody down.
Yeah.
So I just want him to be the best that he can be, whatever that may be.
You like school? You like Auburn as a school for him?
I like it because they have been getting people to the next level.
And he had ability to kind of showcase
To do what he want to do, he can kind of be himself.
You said he the best basketball player.
To come out of Mobile.
Yeah.
That I've seen other than Kennedy Winston. You know what I'm saying? At times I thought Kennedy Winston was one of the best.
Yeah.
But Fallon, I watched him play AAU everywhere. He'll give you 25 if you in California, if you in New York, if you in North Carolina, he'll give you 25. 6'4", point guard, great ball handler, got a little work on, but he's only a junior. So the sky's the limit for him.
What about football?
Football, we the best in
I'm talking about who's your best player that came out the city to you.
Hollywood.
Hollywood's gonna be the best.
Hollywood on everybody.
Hollywood. Jared White was good. Jamarcus Russell by far was the best. The first overall pick. But in high school that I've seen, see, this is what I said. Sherman Williams was the best that I had seen. I ain't gonna lie. Sherman Williams was the best. DeAndre Green was great. Jared White was great. But I never seen a sophomore good as Hollywood. I don't know if they need to take it. Y'all finna get me put up.
Yes, yeah.